Hello everyone and welcome to this new lab. Today we will take a look to another binary program. For that we need to open IDA. Let's go to the search bar and type IDA. It's this one, IDA free. We click on it. We click OK. And we disassemble a new file. We navigate to our folder, hackdev module 9 lab number 3, and this is the program unhooking.exe. Click open. This is the summary, so we click OK again, and then an analysis will begin. Okay, let's first talk a bit about all the sections we have here. This section has different tabs for hex view, local types, imports, exports, and also an IDA view, which it's used to take a look at the disassembly, and it's very helpful because the code is separated in blocks, and using the conditionals to have a graph view. In this part we have a graph overview. We can manipulate which section we want to see, and in this area we have the functions, the list of the functions defined in this program. Okay, there's a lot of functions. Some of them are named like this. That is because it's not a recognized function, very likely to be defined by the program itself, and it's named only using its address. Okay, great. So now let's use a very cool feature of IDA. We go to view, open subviews, and here at generate pseudocode. Here's an information window. We can click OK safely. And now we can see a version of the code, but more like a C program. Okay. So now we can notice it's calling set windows hook, using as a first parameter the number 13. We can go to the documentation and check what does that mean. Let's go to our browser. And well, here it is, set windows hook. Okay. Well, the first parameter is the ID hook. Here we have the actual values. In our case, it's the value 13, which is WH keyword LL. Okay. So this installs a hook procedure that monitors low-level keyword input events. Great. Let's go back to our IDA. And well, now we know the second parameter is the hook procedure. Great. So now we have three parameters: code, wparam, and lparam. Okay, if code is different from 0, we call the next hook. But if the code is exactly 0, we simply return 1, effectively disabling the keyboard. Okay, so now we know this program is making sure we cannot use our keyboard. Great. Okay, but how could we disable this? Oh, well, let's go back one. And this function set windows hook returns a handler. Using this handler, we can call another function, unhook windows hook, and provide this handler, and that actually is going to remove the hook. So now our mission is to retrieve the current handler. Okay, let's double click on this variable, and now we can notice it's a global variable in the data section. This is the address of the variable, but this address is calculated under the assumption that the program is loaded at a specific address. Let's fix that going to Edit, Segments, Rebase Program. Okay, and this is the base address, so let's change it for a 0. We click OK, and now we have this address as an offset from the base address of the program. Okay, this is very important because every time Windows runs this program, it's going to load the code at different addresses. So once we know the base address, we can increase by this offset, and there will be this variable. Okay. So now one path to achieve this is to execute the program, attach a debugger, and go to look for this variable. But first I want to show you a plugin for NeZa. Let's close our window. Now let's go to our folder, HackDev, Tools, and here let's create a simple PowerShell script. This will be retrieve handler PS1. Okay, and we click yes. Now let's edit this file. Great. We need to use a PowerShell script because since we're not able to use the keyboard, we cannot execute the program and then type our command. So we need to leave the commands predefined. Okay, so the first thing is to retrieve the process ID. So we create a variable p get process, and our process is called hooking. Okay, so now we want to call NeZa bin.exe, and we want to inject a plugin, right? And we need to provide the process ID, so we go to our variable p.id, and then the name of the plugin to be injected. In this case, it's called read keyword, and we provide a parameter, plugin parameter, right? Let's switch to IDA. Okay, and we must provide this offset. So we select it and Control C and come back and write this. Great. So now our tool is going to inject this plugin into the process with this ID, and it specifies this offset. Okay, this plugin, what it does is takes that offset and takes the base address of the program, and then goes to the result and extracts the keyword 8 bytes and shows that value to us. So let's give it a try. Let's go to the folder of the lab. We execute the program. Okay, now we can check that we are not able to use the keyboard. Great. And go back to our tools folder. Then we execute this, run with PowerShell. Great. And to see the result, we must go to local app data. So that's on local disk, users, or user, Defender, app data, local, and hack defender, NeZa bin. And here at the plugin output. Okay, so this is the address, and this is the value that we were looking for. Great. Then what's next? Well, now that we have the handler value, we must execute Unhook Windows hook within the context of the program who installed the hook. For that, we will use again our tool NeZa, but we have to create another plugin. So let's do that. Let's close this and close by now the hooking program. Okay, now we must open the file. Here is the source code. Okay, I just want to show you how is the code, right? Well, probably this size is good enough. Great. Well, we have this plugin. Once the plugin is injected, we read the parameter. We provide the parameter, which is the handler, and we simply call this function using this value, right? Here we have some useful functions like reading an integer from the parameters, some internal communications from the tool. But what really matters is this part. We read the handler value and simply call this function. And since this plugin is already injected into the process, that's just all that we need. Okay, so now let's create our PowerShell script that can disable the hook. Okay, great. Let's copy all this and create a new file. This time we will call our script as disable hook ps1. Okay, so since we are going to execute again the hooking program, the handler value will be different, so we must also execute this part first, and now we have to retrieve the handler. For that, we are going to use read host and ask for the handler, and then we can call NeZa bin.exe, inject plugin, the process ID, and the name of the plugin, Unhook, Windows hook. The plugin parameter is then the handler. Okay. Great. So now let's again execute the program. hackdev model 9 lab number 3 hooking.exe. Now we check we cannot use the keyboard. Okay, and go back to our tools folder and execute our script disable hook. Okay, now it's asking for the handler. We can go back again to the folder, users, defender, update them, local, hack defender, NeZa bin, okay, and plugin output. And here is the new value. Okay, this time we have to provide the value using the hex notation. So let's first copy this part, go back to the PowerShell script, paste it, and then copy the handler value. This is enough. Copy, paste it, and well, we also must provide a enter, so let's copy that too. And there it is. We can confirm the hooking program is still running, and now we can use our keyboard because we have effectively disabled the hook. Great. See you in the next lab. Bye.